And welcome to Ballhawk Blab, the first video baseball podcast put on for Ballhawks by Ballhawks, inspired by Hall & Oates. We got them somewhere back there today, but it's brought to you from them. Tony, what's on our content list today?
Well, I wish we could be talking about this one right here, but we're not going to talk about Larry.
No.
We're going to talk about some other stuff. And what that stuff is my list right here. We're going to be talking about the biking for baseball. We're going to be talking about some road trip stuff, which, as you can kind of tell, David might be on a road trip right now because that doesn't look like Atlanta behind him.
No, it's not.
Talking a little bit about Atlanta's new stadium. And then we're going to give a special shout out at the end of the show to our special guest who might be hiding right now. So, David,
yes,
you want to talk about biking for baseball?
Let's do. And I know you can add in some of the your interactions with biking for baseball, but what biking for baseball is, and I don't know if you actually meet him out there or just kind of exchange some.
I did not get to meet him.
Okay. We're going into delay again as last week. My battery is not very cooperative, so I'll need to go to a secondary power source. But what biking for baseball is, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but somebody who's basically exactly what it says, that he's biking around the country to help raise money for his scholarship to help send some of those that might be a little bit less fortunate to college. And what his goal was is to bike to all 30 Major League stadiums. And he's done this in the past before. And I think he made it about a third of the way through, maybe a little bit further than a third of the way through. Come on. Hopefully that sparks the battery a little bit. And on his way to Atlanta in Alabama, outside of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, he was struck by a truck and suffered fractured vertebrae, fractured spine, knocked some teeth out as well. Overall, not a very good outcome. The good news is that he lived, and a lot of these things seem to be recoverable. But at the same time, whenever you are hit by a vehicle on a country road in the middle of nowhere, I don't think it's going to be all that great of an outcome. Tony, and the thing was that he was on his way to Atlanta for his game there. So, Tony, any interactions that you've had with him?
Well, I'll kind of show some pictures right now. You can go see it. It's called Biking, the number 4, and then Baseball on Twitter. So that was the damage to the bike. But what is even scarier, and the guy's name is Tim, by the way. There's a picture of Tim in the hospital. So not very good, but like you said, he's alive. It sounds like he's doing better now. They had to end the road trip, which is unfortunate, especially because it was right before they would be able to see you. But I was kind of almost trailblazing for them because I think that they were maybe like a game behind me when I went out to the West Coast, and I actually saw the vehicle that they used to kind of carry probably extra gear and camping stuff and all that other good stuff that they need for non-biking essentials, and passed them in the mountains, I think somewhere, I want to say Utah, right before I got into Washington. So it was kind of cool to see, especially because I was like, oh, I've heard of them before. I've seen them at previous games in the previous years. So really cool to be able to interact with them a little bit. I was hoping to be able to see them here at Minnesota, but doesn't sound like that's going to happen. But we wish Tim speedy recovery and everyone else who's working with them. You can go to their website, I know, and they're still taking donations. And it's, like you said, David, goes to a good cause. I know that I've been biking a little bit more this year, so that's something that's kind of inspired me, as well as it's just you kind of learn that it's a little bit more.
And I think what we'll do, and I put together something last week, but never sent it out because I think I wanted to talk about it here on the show before putting information out there. But we'll tweet something out there if anyone who watches can just retweet it, just to kind of spread the word. Not like we're trying to ask for donations for him, but just to kind of get the word out there that hopefully it does come across some of the people that might want to contribute and help this cause, especially in such a situation where Tim was hurt pretty badly. Hopefully it's not starting to the point where he can't continue this. We're still going to continue with trying to raise money, but I think the whole biking part of it and going around the country, going from trying to get to all the baseball stadiums as well as part of the whole trip as well. So, and I think he's done it a couple of times before. We'll tweet out something that if you would just retweet and get the word out there a little bit more as well.
Yep. And the other cool thing is when I was kind of tweeting about where their status was and going through it when I was out on the West Coast, of all people that saw it too, his mom saw it, and she was like, "Oh, good to know that they were still okay. Good to know all that kind of stuff." So I can only imagine how worried his mom was after that incident in Alabama. But hopefully things are getting better for the family, and hopefully 2018 is something that will bring the entire team a lot more joy. And I'm sure once they can finish all 30 parks next year, it'll kind of get that finality and kind of wrap up a terrible bow that happened in 2017.
Well, what's next is we just had a little. The next one, what was it?
I think it's road trips. We're staying on that. So what's
road trips?
Where are you?
Right now, I am in the beautiful town of Port Charlotte, Florida. Part of my summer of road tripping. This is my second road trip of the summer. First one kicked off opening week. Went out west, hit up 3 major league stadiums and 3 minor league stadiums. This one has a bit more of a minor league feel to it. Last night, I was in Tony's spring training mecca of Fort Myers and saw the Fort Myers Miracle. And this afternoon, I am at my third of 3 games today. Started off this morning with a 10:30 affair in Bradenton for the Bradenton Marauders against the Dunedin Blue Jays. Followed that up by a little Gulf Coast League action between the Gulf Coast League Pirates and the Gulf Coast League Braves, and got to meet Braves first-round draft pick Kyle Wright. And then I took about an hour trip back south. And now I am in Port Charlotte, seeing the Port Charlotte Stone Crabs against the Tampa Yankees. Actually, my trip started in Tampa. I forgot about that. Where I saw the Tampa Yankees throw 8 1/3 no-hit innings.
So close.
Against the Dunedin Blue Jays. And it was broken up by a hard hit single up the line that the first baseman got a glove on and knocked down, but wasn't really, it was a hit all the way. Just kind of the play that the first baseman had to make to try to stop it. So it was a bit disappointing. They ended up throwing a 2-hit shutout though, but would have been great to see a no-hitter.
I've never seen one in person. Have you?
No. Not a real one.
So close.
Yeah. So yeah, it's minor league baseball definitely has a different feel to it. I think there's probably 85 people in attendance tonight. The earlier game I went to, if it wasn't for it being camp day, it probably would have been about the same attendance in Bradenton. Same thing last night. Probably about 200 to 300 people in Fort Myers. And Tampa on Sunday, I would say the attendance is probably creeping right about 100. So definitely a lot different feel. They kind of take things a little bit lighter, a lot more fun to be had. Um,
And kind of going off of that, you kind of attack minor league games in a way different way than you do professional games, correct? Especially when it comes to ball hawking.
yeah, when I come to minor league games, it's more of a relaxation type thing. I don't really care much about ball hawking or trying to get balls. My only goal when it comes to minor league games is that I do want to get a game ball from each league I visit. But other than that, I'm not really much care to try to put up numbers at minor league games. Just want to try to get a league ball and that be it.
It's kind of a nice way to kind of rest and relax while still taking in baseball, right?
Yeah, it kind of what I was, realizing that I like so much about minor league baseball as compared to Major League Baseball is when you're in such a small setting with such few people, you can really hear the sounds of the game much better than you can in a Major League stadium. I think you can probably hear one of that being the announcements right now. But the crack of the bat, the ball hitting the glove, the foot hitting the bag, those things are all amplified here. The chatter from the dugout, the bullpens. Those sounds of baseball are a lot more prevalent here in the minors than they are in the majors.
And you're not following Tim Tebow?
I am trying to stay as far away from Tim Tebow as possible because I just think it's going to be a complete zoo. And I didn't watch this week's show from our sister show, but I'm pretty sure one of their hosts probably had some strong feelings regarding Tim Tebow, which we can ask him if we're able to find him.
Yep, agreed. Yeah.
So I have
left on your plate.
Well, after this game, I'm on the Gulf Coast right now. I'm going to be heading over to the Atlantic Coast. I'll be taking in the Jupiter Hammerheads tomorrow, the Single A Florida State League affiliate of the Miami Marlins, and I will be seeing them play the Florida Fire Frogs, the Florida State affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. And then after that game, I'll be heading down to Miami to take in the Miami Marlin and the New York Mets. So hopefully get back into a little bit of ball hawk mode. Probably be able to put up better numbers I have in Atlanta lately as well, because ball hawking there pretty much sucks.
Oh, great.
Segueing onto our next topic, Tony.
Guess where I'm going? Oh, man. So what turned out to be what I thought was just going to be a trip down to Atlanta turned into a let's try to squeeze as much baseball, Major League Baseball, as possible. So I will be starting out in St. Louis on the 4th of July, going for one of those 4th of July baseballs. Then on the 5th, the next day, I will be meeting David, in the Ballhawk Mecca known as SunTrust Park. Double digits for everyone, right? Yeah. And double digits hasn't been registered on my game balls for that park, right?
No, it hasn't. I think the most has been 6. I think it's happened twice. I've gotten to 5. So in my abilities to get to that has been hampered a bit. So we'll just keep on giving it the good old college try and see what we can do there. But it is a rather difficult stadium to ball hawk, especially what's even hurt even more is that it's been cut back from that 2.5 hours to 2 hours. Yes. Probably could have done it at least once if I had that full 2.5 hours, but nope.
Interesting. So I'm gonna really have to hustle, it sounds like, and just hope like hell that I can get a few toss-ups, and I'm gonna be putting myself, I think, in a good area for a game ball, which that's really the only thing that I really want there is one of those commemoratives. So fingers crossed on that, but I'm not expecting big numbers. The next game that I go to is a park where I could put up big numbers, and that's Tropicana Field. I wasn't going to go there, but my boy Trevor Plouffe got signed by the Rays a couple weeks ago, and that kind of changed the plans. I want to see him play in his home stadium for each team that he plays for. So this just kind of works out well. But unfortunately, they are playing the Red Sox, which means that Attendance is going to be a little bit crazy, as well as it's a weekday game, which means only an hour and a half early. So not sounding like it's going to be a great numbers game, but it'll still be nice to check a crappy stadium off the list and not have to go there until they open up a new one.
All right. Now, there has been a lot of talk I've seen lately of finding that site and I guess trying to secure the financing for that. I think the Rays and the A's, little rhyme time there. We got a left-handed hitter up here, so I got to be a little wary of a possible home run. I think the Rays and the A's are up for probably the teams that will have new stadiums before too long. The next one's up in the queue for new stadium action.
And I think the A's are going to announce the site that they have planned for where they want to put the stadium. I think that was supposed to be announced within the next month or so, according to what I saw a while back. And it's kind of ironic that it's the Rays and A's because that's who Plouffe has played for this year. So I guess he is the one that's trying to help these teams get a new ballpark.
Maybe that's what he's been doing there. He's kind of coming in as a veteran and letting his knowledge, because he helped open Target Field. And then, from there, saying, "Hey, A's, let's try to get this stadium deal done." Now they kind of look to see they have everything under control, so he's taking his powers of stadium building to down here in the Gulf Coast area.
Yeah, which I'm so glad because that means that the teams that I've gone to travel to go see have the worst stadiums in baseball.
And that probably is accurate. I think Tampa's weird because it's bad, but there are some things about it I think that are a bit quaint that don't make it as bad as it might seem.
Yeah.
But by no means is it terrible. It's not as terrible as anyone makes it out to seem, but it's not great either. So
quite honestly, Tropicana, as much as I'm gonna dog it and it sucks that it is a dome, it's still I have a soft spot for domes because the Metrodome, as well as if it was outdoors in the middle of summer in Florida, right off the Gulf Coast, that would be pretty.
July 3rd at 6:05 for our annual
getting lightning all the time, as well as
helicopter candy drop in the outfield at 4:30
like this.
p.m.
You'd be good. And what's the temperature right there?
Oh, it is probably a good probably 88 degrees or so. Of course, it's muggy and feel like swamp balls out here today.
Do you have swamp balls?
I suffered from them in Tampa. I did suffer from a case of swamp balls.
Yeah.
Did
you powder them today?
No powder. Did do a nice shower and a thorough drying.
Good.
So I'm trying to stay in the shade to keep this swampiness away and keep it in the Everglades where it belongs. I think here in Florida you call it Everglade balls.
And like a good golfer, always wash your balls.
Yes. Though that is kind of hard to reach the ball washer. It is a bit too high.
That's true. Plus, when you squeeze down, ouch.
Yeah. Well, they have some crank ones too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but it's tough. Those ones are tough because everything gets tangled up.
Do you prefer to crank yours or to kind of go up and down?
I like to grip it and rip it. If you know what I mean? Yeah. On the shaft.
We love you, Mrs. Debnery.
So choke up a little bit, choking on the shaft.
So that kind of is our road trip stuff as of right now. I know that you have one coming up, so maybe we can talk about that on our next show because it's going to be happening right after I meet you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I might do I have 2 more road trips planned this summer. One is going to be more minor league based. I don't know. I got to take a look to see if I'm going to sneak a major league team in. And then in end of September, I think I might be doing an end of the season. Major League Stadium one, hitting up 4 stadiums. One I've been to before, but it has been since I was a wee child. I've been there.
Nice.
Fenway Park, and then hitting up some of
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a small.
Is it new?
It's an old, dingy, decrepit place. I don't know. So.
Oh, Evie, stop humping. Come on.
Show that pillow who's dominant.
So I think that puts us both over 10,000 miles for baseball this year. Is that correct?
I haven't done the mileage yet on this one, but I think the West Coast trip within itself kind of really put that in that neighborhood, plus 2 spring training trips. Really got even closer to that. So I'll have an update probably on the next show of what my total mileage is on that.
We'll give you a year-end total at least. I'm guessing that we will have orbited the globe once, which is good news.
That is. And it's all been done via vehicle. No planes, no trains, just automobiles.
Real road trips, right?
Yes, roadies.
Center fielder number 22, Thomas Malone.
Hello. Let's kind of finish it off here, and we'll talk about your home stadium. I sent you an article a little bit before the show started, and we can talk about it a little bit, but it was written by Michael Rand of the Star Tribune, which is a local paper here. He is from Atlanta, and he was a Braves fan during the '91 World Series, which around here is a big no-no, because the Twins, I believe, won that one. Hey-o!
They did. Strong man, Kent Herbeck.
He was out. Ron Gant. Stop. So he wrote this article because he had just recently done his own road trip and saw some of the minor league stadiums on the way down, Chattanooga, some of the other ones. But the main focus was the new field in Atlanta, SunTrust Park. And when I sent it to you, I think I'll let you cover this part and kind of recap what he said, because it sounded like he was kind of mimicking the sentiments of the folks that were in disagreement with the park even being built in the first place. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that in reading the article itself, it kind of felt like a redux of a lot of what I've been hearing over the 2-3 years that the debate of the stadium being built in the first place.
So what were the issues behind that?
Well, I think a lot of
distance.
Right. Well, the distance, he said 34 miles, which I'm not sure where he got that number from, because the stadium definitely is not 34 miles from downtown Atlanta. Round trip, yeah, that probably could be if you're looking from downtown Atlanta, but I'm not really sure where that number came in. There's also discussion about the traffic getting there. And I get there early enough that I don't really have to deal with the traffic. And I come from a direction that even if I did, I wouldn't have to deal with the traffic coming from downtown Atlanta. From everything I've heard, traffic has been so much better getting into this stadium than it ever was at Turner Field. And I think the discussion of traffic being an issue was something that all these people that were from inside of Atlanta always used as an excuse of why their stadium's location was a terrible place. That it's going to be impossible to get there. It's during rush hour. The Braves did some things to make sure that wasn't as much of an issue by moving game time and start times back to 7:30 instead of 7 o'clock to kind of let the normal rush hour traffic kind of get through that area of town and let the baseball traffic kind of follow in behind it. Like I said, I haven't been out there to see how bad it was, but everything I've heard is that traffic isn't as bad as a lot of people thought it would, and that the Braves have done a lot of good things with encouraging people to prepay for the parking in specific lots from the direction that they're coming from, and then teaming up with ways that they can actually put in the parking lot they're going to, that they can put in the lot they're going to, and that would give them the most direct route to that as well. It seems like with all things stadium related, there's always going to be some shady business going on, and I would agree with that part of the article that there definitely was some backroom dealings done to get this deal done. It never was put up for a vote for the Cobb County taxpayers. One of the big things that talks about is them not being the Atlanta Braves anymore, but part of why the Braves moved and what the Braves say is that they want to move closer to their fan base. Their fan base doesn't have to drive as far, which is a kind of a around the corner way of saying that we wanted to get away from the less desirable element that are around the stadium downtown. And then they also wanted to look at, what was the other point I was going to look at? I was going to talk about, it was that the city of Atlanta was putting money into Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the football and soccer stadium for the Falcons and Atlanta United, the MLS soccer team. And then they were putting up a lot of money for the Atlanta Hawks as well. But the Braves really, according to them, really weren't approached about what they would need for improvements for Turner Field. So in reading the article, the gist of it really seemed to be talking points about everything that I've been hearing for the past 3 years.
The one thing that I took away too, that obviously I haven't been able to experience, but maybe talk about it a little bit more. I know that you don't necessarily park right at the area. You tend to either walk to the game or, like you said, on the off case, maybe take an Uber there. But he did something about parking being $50 and it feeling basically like you're at a large mall that has a baseball stadium in it. Is that true? Is that something that's pretty common? Like it's going on?
Yeah, and just let you know that I'm getting back down on low battery. So if I drop, then
okay,
I guess just bear with it. I think the stadium itself, if you've been to Cincinnati, has that same sort of atmosphere, but take it out of the city center. There definitely is a notion of, well, we want to make an atmosphere where you're not coming just for a baseball game. Yes, parking, if you're going to park directly at the stadium, is very steep, $50. But if you spend $50 there, that parking is free, give or take. I mean, you're still spending $50 there.
Yep.
There's apartments there. So there's 3 different apartment buildings that you can live in there as well. So it definitely does have a different feeling than if you're going to a baseball stadium. That's just kind of the stadium and maybe a few shops and restaurants and bars around it. There definitely is that side, but I think what they were kind of looking for was also a Roxy, which is a music venue, which they've had some pretty big names there. Bush and T.I. and T.I.'s coming later. And, Dave Chappelle and who else was there recently? It's not a few other big names, but they're kind of looking to create a community within itself there that has the baseball stadium as its center point.
Okay. Well, that actually kind of, in a way, when I went down to Arizona, I went to a hockey game there for the Arizona Coyotes, and they aren't necessarily in Phoenix. They were in, I believe it was Glendale. And it was basically like a huge kind of strip mall, big kind of almost like an outlet mall type of feel, where it was rather large, a lot of places to eat and drink and shop and stuff. So it was a different atmosphere, but at the same time too, sports are having a harder time drawing fans, especially baseball, because it's not as glamorous. It's not as sexy. So having other things there to bring folks in, I think, is going to be the norm rather than the outlier here in the future. So it's just kind of interesting to see that starting to happen in baseball. And if you are looking for a good podcast, it's only 30 minutes long. It's just one show, but it's called 99% Invisible. There's an episode about Oriole Park at Camden Yards, which kind of tells about the revitalization of or the revival of kind of the old style ballparks. And they basically said owners follow money. So if there's a new type of ballpark that happens in the future and that gets owners money, then you'll see a change, which maybe Atlanta will be the change, and maybe it'll be a new type of stadium that is developed around shopping.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we might be able to see the Braves do is that they might where are my plugs? Hopefully the revenues that they get from this, that they might turn around and put it back into the team to help increase their payroll, their overall payroll. So No, are we going to see that? I'm not sure, but hopefully we might do that. And I think the Braves that their Liberty Media their parent company will be looking to sell soon as well. So I think that's part of this move as well.
Cool. So I think that pretty much. Anything else to add for the new stadium? Any talking points or anything that you want to throw in that adds to what he was saying or your own type of views?
No, I think it definitely feels like you're in your own city there. That's part of, though it doesn't feel like you're in Atlanta at all. And that was part of the point he was trying to make, is that the stadium doesn't feel as part of the city. So he definitely has a point there. But I think one of the semi-benefits of that is that you feel as if you're in a baseball city, like a little baseball town,
yep.
Which in itself is pretty cool. I've myself have looked at living there, of course, living at a place that's as new and as cool and as desirable that is. It's rather expensive for not very much. So kind of have to weigh the pros and the cons and all that stuff of the being realistic of living there as well. So, so I think that's one of the other points that the article talked about. Also looking at the humanity of, how we're spending money as companies and cities and as humans as well.
Oh, you broke up just for a second.
Oh, sorry. And I was also adding that the other part of the article is looking at the, kind of like the humanity of how we spend money on as communities and cities and individuals.
Yep. I would say that that's definitely a good read, because as much as you can kind of piss and moan and kind of like say it's better in the city, it's better out of the city, both have benefits and neither is totally right. There's a bit more there when it comes to the financing of stadiums and especially the public money portion of it. It's an old argument. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it still does. It's nice to think about that every once in a while, and just kind of to ask yourself to kind of step back and be like, you know what, we're pretty fortunate to be able to have money to go to baseball games, let alone use government funds to help us get to those baseball games. I think we kind of forget that in a way our local governments have helped us keep that dream of baseball alive, for good, bad. It's kind of both. Yeah. So it'll be.
So anything else on this week?
I think just to wrap that portion up, I think it'll be really nice to see it in person, to be able to take a look at it as an outsider, because you've been there for a while now going to Atlanta games and you're from Atlanta. It'll just be kind of interesting to see what a Minnesotan or someone from the outside just sees, having been to only really one series or one game at each stadium. But as for the last point, I think, Cole, are you there? Cole? David, are you Cole?
I'm not Cole. Are you Cole?
I'm not Cole. Do you have Cole there with you?
I don't see him.
Huh. Cole? Oh, hey, Cole. Hey, guys. Hey, Cole. What do you think? Do you have anything to add to this? No, you guys are awesome. Thanks, Cole.
Cole, I got one question for Cole. Cole, I know
go ahead.
that you've Cole, I know you've kind of been a little outspoken about Tim Tebow. What are your thoughts on him getting a promotion when he's just batting about 225 or so in low A, getting moved up to high A?
You know what? That's a really good question. I think it really comes down to the free market, and he's really bringing in a lot of money for these organizations. So I think that promoting him is definitely worth it. He might not have the skills, but it's kind of like a CEO. Can they do the jobs below? Not really. But do they bring in the money? Yeah, they bring in the money. So I really think that Tim Tebow deserves even more of a raise, maybe up to the big squad pretty soon.
Oh, we had a fly ball, shallow to center. Oh, wow, he needed another 80 feet on that. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Cole. We had a little distraction here.
That's okay. I love you. I love you, David.
Oh, thanks, Cole.
Well, Cole, do you have to go? Yeah, I have to go. I have to go sleep now. Oh, okay. Bye, Cole. Bye.
Cole, how's the weather? How's the weather there?
The weather is pretty awesome.
Okay, hope you have a good weekend.
You too. I love you. I want to be like you guys when I grow up. Wow, Cole's really nice. Yeah.
All right. I think that's it.
That is it. So we will play you out with some Hall & Oates, just like normal. And if there's anything else that you want us to talk about, tell us.
I'm just saying a little preview for next week's show. It'll be a very, very special episode. Woo. 2 Hawks, 1 cup, or something like that.
Oh, I will bring a cup. Do you have a cup?
I have a cup.
Or do you bring is yours a glove trick or a cup trick?
It's like I do a trick with my cup.
Okay. Okay. So really, 2 Hawks, 2 cups.
Yep.
Okay.
And maybe promoting Tony's other Ballhawk adventure, maybe a very special episode of At the Gates.
Oh, yes. That will be happening. There's so much that we will be doing.
And maybe even like one of our little shorts that we had put together before as well.
And we're not talking about our boy shorts. We're talking about digital.
No. Yes.
Although
until then,
girl shorts, right?
We could find some like little booty cutoff shorts.
Especially in Atlanta, they should have those all over the place. I've seen the rap video.
I'm sure they do.
I'm hip, yo. I watched the raps. Wow. Since we're so cool, let's play it out with a little Daryl Hall. I miss you. Miss you, David.